Yeah, I will. Yeah, I will. Okay, good morning everyone and welcome to this meeting for Culture and City Development. Just give people a bit of clarity, there's some public concern about meetings continuing during the virus outbreak. Once papers are published for a decision meeting, currently we are required to then proceed and hold the meeting. We're waiting for government to review that to make it more practical for things to happen without people needing to be in a room together in the coming weeks. Everyone in the meeting today is practicing social distancing, and anyone watching, please do that yourselves as well. It's the best advice we have at the moment. There will be some officers who are not present today because they're either in vulnerable groups or self-isolated and are diverted to business critical activities. So members, please understand that not everyone was able to be here to speak to their reports. Good morning and welcome.
On that point, Councillor Pitt, can I just urge you to make sure you consult group spokespeople when decisions are made about those meetings? I appreciate that obviously the meetings do need to take place, but I think as a matter of courtesy, it's important we speak to other group leaders and spokespersons about the arrangements.
In what regard, Councillor Morgan?
Well, my suggestion would be that we get through this agenda very quickly today so that staff can get back to the important task of responding to the public health emergency.
And that's exactly what I was planning to do, thank you. Any apologies for absence? I have apologies from Councillor Symes, noting also the officer's not here for those reasons. She's saying that she's written to David Williams to explain that her husband has a reduced immune system, having had cancer treatment and a serious operation, so we will not be attending meetings for the foreseeable future. She's made a couple of comments on other reports which I'll refer to when we get to those reports. Declarations of interest, members?
None.
Okay, thank you very much. Item 3 is the Directorate Business Plan. Josie's not here today. Members, did you have any particular questions about the business plan that Claire may be able to address?
None.
Okay, in that case, the business plan update is noted and agreed. Forgive me while I just try and deal with this. I need to pull these off. So we're moving on to item 4, which is progress on the landing craft tank. Page 77 in papers. Members, any questions?
None.
Thank you. In that case, any recommendations are accepted. The next item is item 5, which is the Hot Wall Studios lease and rental model. Now, I do have a comment here from Councillor Symes, which I'll read first. She says, I made my views clear at the briefing meeting. The only objection I had was the extension leases of the Hot Wall Studios. Developing or starting up a business should not take 6 years, and some businesses occupy those spaces are very successful. This goes against the original principles of this project. It also stops a large number of people waiting for an opportunity to occupy a studio. So we note Councillor Symes' remarks. Chris, are you going to speak to this item? You are? Okay, we'll keep it brief, but over to you.
Just to say that the landscape of the waiting list has changed, so a lot of the businesses that come to us now are in a more developed area, so it's not that we would never stop people coming towards the Hot Wall Studios, coming through the Hot Wall Studios. We supported a number of businesses previously, and there is a turnover that goes on there. We've supported in the region of 20 businesses that have come through there already, so we are always looking to have new people come through.
Thank thank you very much, and I'm content that we did consider the type of issues that Councillor Symes have raised, and that for the reasons that Chrissy's identified, we decided that this was the best way to proceed, and over to members present for any other questions. Councillor Udy.
Just to comment, just to reiterate what I said at the briefing meeting, that we should maybe look into sites around Commercial Road for more beginning businesses to go in and maybe step up and help them get to the place where they would be trading at the Hot Wheels.
Yeah, we are looking at a number of options which maybe need to be put on back burner for a little while, but we are looking at a number of options around move on spaces, but also move in from spaces to get those incubators in place. Councillor Morgan?
No.
Okay, thank you very much, and thank you, Chrissy. Please leave if you need to. Recommendations accepted. Item 6, Great South Run. Claire will speak to this report if members require. Members, any questions? No, in which case recommendations are accepted. Item 7, Victoria's Festival Update Report. Members, any questions? No? Okay, in that case that's fine, Claire. Thank you very much. Recommendations accepted. Item 8, Charter Community Sports Centre. Mark is here if members have any questions. Just from me, Mark, well done on the work you've put into that contract, and it's great that that service will be able to continue, and apologies for you needing to be here today. So you can move on. Item 9 is exclusion of press and public. I am choosing that we will not go to exclusion of press and public, which is cheered Fiona up no innocence, probably the main reason she came. So the papers will be subsequently published on the council website, and we will talk to the report in open session. So item 10, which is the report that refers to, is the Groundlings Theatre report. I think it might be useful if Peter just made a few remarks on this, and a massive apologies to members, but this had to go through a process that both our city solicitor and our chief finance officer were happy with, in order for them to agree that they wanted to move forward in the way. We've been very clear that it was their recommendations that members would accept from the administration, and I hope we'll get other members' support today. Over to you, Peter.
Yes, so you can see from the report the recommendation is in two elements. There's an element relevant to grant, and there's an element relevant to loan. Both the grant and the loan are subsumed into one charge to be secured against the legal owner's premises to what we say in the law, by the event. The idea is that the authority has security to recall funds if there is non-compliance with regard to key performance indicators relevant to what they're doing at the facility, and the loan is there to take off a subsisting charge on the premises to protect the premises from continued usage and or potential forfeiture in the event of a third-party legal owner's financial difficulty. So we are exercising prudent control in the sense of having a first charge on that property. Now that, in law, is something we can do as a matter of powers under the sort of Localism Act and on the basis of normal prudent lending. It's not there forever. The idea is that essentially the facility and the trust come to an arrangement to deal with their refinancing over a period of time. It is a sensible and prudent method of securing council funds, in the sense that tangibly, if things go badly wrong, we'll get them both back. And that is the idea promulgated by myself and a Section 151 officer. Any questions?
Okay, just before I go to members present, I have a comment on this from Councillor Symes to say she has, and before I actually read this, to be fair to Councillor Symes, the papers came out very late, so I can't be clear whether she was cited on this report prior to making this statement or not, so let's caveat it with that. I have reservation re the loan to the Groundlings Theatre, as there has been, seems to be, a disproportionate support for this type of venue, with the 1.7 million gift to the Guildhall and the 3.5 million loan to the King's Theatre. We must also consider the fact that if any of these ventures fail, the taxpayer will be liable for the debt. I do feel that, given the nature of those comments, I should provide some clarifications here. The £1.7 million gift is not a gift. There is allocated annual revenue funding to the Guildhall around repairs, maintenance and renewals. This is a capitalisation of an element of that, and therefore is entirely in line with the Council's policy of maintaining and improving the building. The £3.5 million loan to the King's Theatre is not a £3.5 million loan. It is already set in the council's budget to be a maximum of £3 million and is not set at that figure yet while the financial details are agreed by the council's Section 151 officer. So I think that both those points are important because they are very different to what is stated. But I do caveat that obviously with in the groundlings matter with the fact that it's possible Councillor Symes hadn't seen it. So her statement that consider the fact that these ventures fail, the taxpayer will be liable for the debt. I think Peter's been clear that actually the debt is secured against the building, so that if the organisation should cease to operate and the building be sold, the council would recover its investment. Is that correct, Peter?
Yes, it's exactly that, Councillor Pitt. The general idea is to protect the authority's money proportionate to the value of the asset. The asset outstrips the lending quite considerably, so we have normal security.
Thank you, Peter. Members' comments?
Just from me, I welcome this arrangement. I think that it's long overdue. I'm very grateful for the work of Chris Richards and other council officers that helped the organisation move towards charitable status, which will help it unlock other funding going forward. More generally, I just wanted to make the point that obviously a number of cultural institutions in our city will now be in very difficult financial circumstances, and I'd welcome officers bringing a paper when appropriate so that we can understand the implications for our city and what support the council may need to make going forward.
Thank you. Councillor Udy. Okay, so just to give members some comfort, I have spoken to the Section 151 officer and secured an agreement that revenue grants due to organisations in the city will be released in full at the start of the financial year. Those organisations are being spoken to literally as pretty much as we speak. I have had responses to say that that does give them considerable comfort. We're also hoping that the government steps up to its responsibilities and recognises the enormous value of the cultural community to this country and makes sure that it is protected and able to be resilient and not, to be frank, thrown under a bus. Any further comments from members?
Could you write to us formally with those proposals, please?
I can make sure members are notified with those proposals and assure you that letters have been going from the leader, both in his capacity as chair of the Culture, Tourism and Sport Board at the LGA and as council leader to government, urging them to give support to the sector. Okay, members are happy then. I'll accept the recommendations. Any further business today from members at all? Anything you wanted to raise?
Just over some issues over licensing, because that comes under you, doesn't it, really? Just an uncertain times about protecting the budget that goes into the licensing department, just so you are aware that things as income will be greatly reduced in the period that we're closed, and there are some renewals due and some proprietor fees, and that needs to be noted, and discussions will hopefully take place between Section 151 and Nikki and everyone. Cool.
Thank you, Claire. And just more broadly, to anyone watching and to members in general, not necessarily those present, we are quite understandably and in this particular instance receiving a very large number of requests for financial assistance. We need to balance those requests against the income required by the council to deliver vital services to vulnerable people in this city at this time, and therefore we are pressing government to give us 100% clarity about who it will be helping, including the self-employed and those on 0 hours contracts, to ensure that people are protected. It is not the council's responsibility to be sacrificing all of its income at this difficult time. However, it will very happily work with government and look at options to facilitate smoothing out payments from businesses at an appropriate juncture. Thanks, everyone.